Danny Gaffone for Pro Boxing fans, delighted to be joined by unified welterweight world champion Natasha Jonas. Tasha, happy New Year, first of all. Busy time in your house, I imagine, over the last couple of weeks.
It has been, yeah. It's been good to be able to enjoy the celebrations and, you know, have a drink and eat and dance with like the rest of the Jonases always do. But all the best.
I was going to say, March the 7th, you can probably get away with a more normal Christmas.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I always had that I was going to have Christmas off regardless. And yeah, just enjoying catch up on last year that I didn't get to do. So yeah, I enjoyed Christmas and I'm actually ready now to go back to gym.
Yeah, well, let's talk about the fight. As I say, March the 7th, massive fight for yourself, unification with Lauren Price at the Royal Albert Hall. You've been in a lot of big fights in your career, Tash, world titles, unifications. Where does this one rank? Obviously, it's another all-woman card being put on by Boxer, top of the bill. I don't think there's been boxing at the venue for quite some time either. So where does this one stack up to the other big fights you've had?
Yeah, it's definitely up there. I think the occasion is huge, and it's a chance to really go out and shine. And we've seen that with Savannah and Clarissa last time in the O2, but I think this is an even bigger fight and a more pivotal time for myself.
Yeah, Lauren, you'll have got a close look, I'd imagine, their last fight. Obviously, you two sharing a bill. What did you make of that and her sort of progression in the pro ranks in general? Obviously, like yourself, very established amateur. She's had nine professional fights now. I think. What do you make of her and as her opponent stylistically? What sort of test do you think she's going to pose for you?
Yeah, I think I didn't see it on the night. I still haven't watched the fight back. It's something that kind of analysis stuff and tactics. I always let Joe's the master, so I always let him do his thing and try and apply that when I'm in the ring. But I've commentated on a lot of her fights, and she's done what you would expect an Olympic champion to do. She hasn't lost a round yet. She's boxed really well. She's still got an amateur kind of quickness and style. But I also do think that in every fight she's been very comfortable. But my idea is to not make her comfortable, and I don't think she'll be able to handle that. What does happen when you lose a round? What does happen when you get a cut? And what does happen when you go down? Them answers she's never had to answer.
Yeah, was it always Lauren Price? Now, I'm not going to try to stir anything here, but my colleague John actually interviewed her earlier today, and she claimed that, be it yourself or your team, you didn't want this fight. Just give you a chance to answer back to that.
No, it wasn't that. The first time the fight got mentioned was November. Now I'd been chasing the Michaela Mayer rematch since we fought. It was finally decided that it was never going to happen. In August, mid-August, I think it was. And obviously she went off and got another fight, and then it was brought to me that I could fight Habazin, and then it was mentioned about Lauren in November, and I said, "Well, what happened to Habazin?" That was the kind of comeback fight to be fresh and ready to go for Lauren. Lauren's been on the card. It's contracted for me to fight Lauren. I did believe that there was bigger fights out there. I still believe that the Michaela Mayer rematch is a bigger fight. I still believe that Katie Taylor is a bigger fight. It's not about me being scared of Lauren, me not wanting to fight Lauren. I just thought there was bigger fights out there for me, and I still believe that.
You touched on that potential rematch with Michaela Mayer. Obviously, there was big clamour for it at the time. It was a very competitive fight, very entertaining fight. Why, in your view, did that fight not materialise, the rematch?
There was just, I think, a lot of things. We tried literally box a few, given a few dates. The dates came and went, and there was no, for whatever reason, there was fights falling through. There was fights moving to Saudi cards. You know, there was lots of different reasons. Then we tried to go and do it with Top Rank, agreed all the terms. Top Rank thought that the fight would be bigger in the UK, which I probably agree with. We tried to get it on a Queensbury show, and then there was contractual stuff between everyone, and it just was never going to happen.
That one you would obviously like to revisit though, because you come through March the 7th. That could potentially be undisputed fight, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think come through March the 7th, and there's a Katie. The doors are still open. There's a Michaela Maya. That doors are still open, and they're both undisputed fights. So you'd be stupid to not at least look at them. But like I say, I'm just focusing on the one that's in front of me.
At this stage of your career, is that what it's about? I mean, you've won, world titles, different weights, but you know, there's been talk of how long's Tasha got left for a couple of years now. I know you obviously, you're performing at a level you have been, but is it about the financially secure fights for you from the next sort of year and a half or a couple of years?
No, not necessarily financially. I mean, don't get me wrong, money matters, but it's also about, fights that are personal to me. I think a Katie Taylor fight, I've always said, as personal to me. She's beat me 2 or 3 times on big occasions that I want revenge on. So, that's just a personal fight. Michaela Mayer, I believe that I can do a better job the second time round, more convincing. Um, but I don't have them options or that fight if I don't come through Lauren. So, got to focus on Lauren.
You touched on Katie Taylor. What did you make of the rematch with Serrano? A lot of people saw that was potentially controversial. Obviously, Amanda and her team kicked up a bit of a fuss. How did you have that fight scored, if you can remember?
I didn't score it as I went along, but I remember thinking at the end, Katie's won that. Now I think sometimes I think people get, you know, I think they let the stats and figures of the boxing stats like override what they actually see. And I just think, yeah, Amanda threw a lot of punches, but I thought Katie's was more effective work. But okay, it depends what you like. Some rounds were really close. Same with Usyk Fury. Some rounds are really close, but if you give them all the close rounds to Usyk, it's a wide margin. If you give all the rounds to Fury, then it's closer. So it just depends on what you like, and that's why we have such different of opinions because everybody thinks different.
Yeah, you touched on the stats. I think one stat that was a massive positive that came out from the Katie Amanda rematch was the eyeballs that was on it. I mean, I think an estimated 100 million people watched the card, certainly the main event. Just factoring in that, yourself headlining this show on International Women's Day, feels like women boxing's just gone to strength in the last couple of years.
Yeah, the fact that we can get it in the Royal Albert Hall, and already, I'm sure Joe will butt in and tell me the actual facts and figures, but already it's one of the biggest pre-sale numbers already. And, I think mine and Michaela Mayer's fight, as far as I'm aware, was one of the biggest viewing figures that Boxer had for that year. So, we're going in the right direction. But at the top, we always knew as athletes how good women's boxing was. We just needed the world to see it at its best. And at its best, you have the moments like Taylor Serrano, you have the fights like Clarissa Savannah, you'd have the fights like me and Lauren.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a couple of quick ones before I let you go, Tash. You touched on Usyk Fury then. That was another one. Various scorecards flying about. Do you think the right man won the rematch, Alexander Usyk?
I 100% wanted Fury to win, and I thought, but I did think Usyk edged it. I didn't think the gap was as wide as it was, but I thought the right person won.
And lastly, 2025 looks like it might finally be the year we see Fury fight Anthony Joshua. I mean, touchwood, don't want to jinx anything. Still got plenty of appetite to see that. And who do you favour as we sit here in January?
I'm always going to go with Josh. He was a long time, someone I trained alongside for a very long time in the 2012 build up, and someone I still keep in contact with now. So, yeah, I think it's a great fight. I do think stars make fights. I think Josh has got a lot to prove after the performance against Dubois, and he's going to want to prove it. But also, Fiore comes with his own um, set of skills, and he always imposes his strengths, nullifies what you're good at, and it's going to be a great fight. And I think again, even with myself and Lauren, we have these like eureka moments in boxing, and it's when it's them big domestic fights, like your Ben and Eubanks, like your Khan Brooks, like you have these moments in boxing, and you have to ride the quest of the wave because everyone is invested in at some point.
Yeah, we all love a rivalry, certainly a domestic one. And yourself and Lauren promises to be certainly in the ring right up there, all those you just mentioned. Tasha, I will let you go. Thanks for giving me some of your time. And yeah, really look forward to the fight.
Nice one, thank you.
Cheers, Tasha.